Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. And today we're going to be going over two types of listings that you can use that aren't on the MLS just yet. So today we're going to be talking about your coming soon listings and your quiet listings, if you have that available to you. And I'll tell you what that means in just a minute. My name's Tom Shively, and I'm the Director of Training here at Buyside. And I'm also joined by Todd Williams, our Client Services Extraordinaire, who's going to be helping us out with our Q&A once we get to the very end. So a quick agenda for what we're going to be looking at today is, can I use a coming soon listing? So that is, there's a lot of people out there that are saying there's this new rule that says we can't market listings before at minimum 24 hours before it goes on the MLS. Meaning, so once you start to send this thing out, we have to have it on the MLS. So do these coming soon listings apply to that rule? So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Where to add the coming soon listing. So how do we go in and do it? So we're going to show you how to add our coming soon listings. And then how do you find matches for your listings? We're also going to take a look at your quiet listings as well, which means those are non-MLS listings, also known as pocket listings. So we'll be seeing how to set those up and where they show up and why you can find buyers when we have those listings. And then, of course, we do have a Q&A at the very end. So if you have any questions about what we talk about today, go ahead and put those in the questions box that you see over on the right-hand side, and we will answer any questions that you have during our presentation here. So once we get to that at the very end. Okay, so now before we jump in, and we are just going to jump in and start adding listings in there. But before we do that, we do want to mention that we do have our Buyside Facebook Insiders group, Facebook Buyside Insiders group. There we go. So you can go in and see some best practices, tips and tricks, and then of course, any testimonials. So if you have success stories or questions, you can always ask us there, or you can email us at support@getbuyside.com. We have a world-class support team. Todd is helping out with that. You may even speak to him today if you have any questions. So if you do need any help, you have two different ways of getting that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. And this is going to be where we add our listings. Now, when you have listings, you're going to see that once they hit the MLS, they're going to be down here. And they say under our listings on our dashboard. You can also go to My Listings and you can see the full list of how many listings you have. Now, we're going to talk about adding a coming soon listing. And one of the questions that we often get is, there is this rule that says once we start marketing our listing, it has to be on the MLS 24 hours later. And the reason that coming soon listings, the ones we're talking about today, if we go to add and go to add listing up in the top right, we can see coming soon listings. The reason that this doesn't apply is because this is internal, right? This is like sharing a listing that maybe you haven't gotten a signed contract yet, but we want to see some attraction with it, or we're working with a person, or the photographer hasn't come, or even in today's market, there's a lot of people that don't want to list their listing just yet. They're ready to do it, but they want to wait until this lockdown is over. Well, guess what? We can do and find interest, but this is like sharing a listing in your Monday meetings, right? This is all completely internal. So it's only going to be shared with your brokerage. So those people that you know and that we work with. So it's like sharing our listings in our meetings. So it isn't outward facing marketing. It is inward facing, meaning it's only going to go to your brokerage. So we can go to add coming soon listing right here. We'll select that, and here we can start to add our coming soon listing. So this is how we would start to see the interest in our listing here. Now you will see this on top if you are a manager, which means that if you want to put a listing in on behalf of somebody else, you're an admin, somebody has asked for your help and you can do that. You can actually put in a coming soon listing. Now, if you're not an admin, you just won't see that up there. Now, the first thing on our list here is the street address visibility. So view by all users or confidential. So we can, that means that if you want to have somebody see the address. Now, there are a lot of people that don't want people driving in front of their house right now. They don't want people walking through their house right now. They're not going to have open houses. We're quarantined. We're locked down. So we can't have that just yet. So if we wanted to, we can make this confidential so that while it's in the system, people can still see your listing. And even the disclaimer says this is not going to be posted on Zillow. It is just inside Buyside. And we'll show you what that means is once we put this listing in, you'll actually see the listing pop up under listings, but it's not going to have the address. So people will be able to see the area, they'll see the bedrooms and bathrooms, the descriptions, all the feature types, the buyers that match with this listing, but it's not going to show the exact address because there are people that don't want that just yet. So we can make this confidential. And I'll show you what that means in just a second. So we'll make this view, you know what, let's actually make it confidential. So we'll see what that is. Now we'll do our address here. So let's put in 1550 Kathy Court. There we go. In California. And now if this does have public records, it will pull all that information. I can see it just did Alameda County. I have my school district, the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District. And then I've got my number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Now you will notice that a few of these fields here are bold. So you will see bold, and it actually has a little star right there. And what that means is this is a mandatory field. So you don't have to put in the age of the home if you don't want to. If it's not important for your seller to have in there, you don't have to. We can say that this is, 11, it's a fairly recent home, 11 to 25 years old. So we can have that approximate lot size. We can add that in there as well. So let's say it's a half acre or quarter acre. Perfect. And then we can put in our listing description. Now, oftentimes we already have that listing description, right? We need to add that in when we put it on the MLS. So we can say, this is a great home. I don't have one, so we can just add that in there. And then whatever our asking price is going to be. So we'll say $8.99. There we go. So now we've got our listing. What is the broker commission rate? You know what? I want to add my 3% in there. So we'll make sure we put that in there. And then when is it going to go live on the MLS? Now you will see that this one has 2 weeks out. So we can put this 2 weeks in the future. But what we're seeing a lot of brokerages do, if you have access to this, again, if it is allowable by your brokerage, you may be able to put this up to 90 days out. So if you're somebody that your brokerage uses these coming soon listings, you want to start to circulate these, you can put these up to 90 days out. You can see right now mine is only set to 2 weeks, so I'm going to put that in there. But once that 2 weeks is up, that doesn't mean that it gets pushed to the MLS. What that means is that it expires in our system. So all that's going to happen is, let's say we do a coming soon listing and it does hit the MLS. You're going to see that show up automatically. So it is just going to replace the coming soon with a live MLS listing inside of Buyside. Automatically, you're not going to have to do anything to make sure that gets in there. So once we use this, once we put that in there, and let's say we get a little bit closer. So I have 2 weeks out. So let's say it's the 26th and it's still not ready to go live on the MLS. I can actually come back here and push the date out another 2 weeks. So you can actually come in and update that. So there is a way for you to edit that as well. So if we did come in here, again, it's not going to push it anywhere. It is just going to expire in our system, and we could either re-enter it or adjust it if you wanted this to continue to be inside the system, but not on the MLS. So when are the showings going to start? We can put the 22nd, we'll say next week, and then offer reviews on. So we can add some reviews. Then of course our images, so we can add our high-res images in there. We can have up to 20 of them. But again, let's say this is 6 months in the future and we're things are decently back to normal. We can upload those images, but let's say that our photographer hasn't quite gotten back to us yet. They haven't gotten our images to us. So we can add this into our system without images, and other agents can start to match their buyers with our profile, which would be a great reason to use the coming soon feature, because we don't have those images yet, but let's start to see what buyers are out there and are looking for a listing just like ours, so we can take a look at that. So let's go ahead and add this listing in. And you'll see this show up on your dashboard. So we're going to add that. It's thinking about it. So right now, what it's showing me is the listing page. And so what I can see for my coming soon listing here is all of the buyers. So here we go. So we can see at my price range, I've got one buyer in the system. Again, this is a stage account, so you're probably going to see a lot more buyers than just one. But if I were to go up, check this out. I've actually got more buyers that are in a higher price bracket, so we can see those. Now you are going to see the buyers just underneath that. So all of those buyers that are in the system that match with your listing, you're going to see those underneath here. So whether you're on your dashboard and you click on this listing, or you've just made it like you see I did, we can come to our matching buyers. And you'll actually see the little blue triangle here. That means this is my buyer. So that means I've got a listing and one of my buyers matched with this. So I can actually see that I've got both sides of this transaction. So I can see my buyer and my listing. And you can, of course, contact those buyers over here. So I can select and then send an email. Now, if I actually wanted to see this buyer, I could click on the buyer profile, or excuse me, the buyer ID, and it's going to show you their buyer profile. So they are a cash buyer. Great. They're looking for, this is the price range. What kinds of properties are they looking for? The strength of that buyer, which is our 4 stars over here. And you can see this is what those stars represent. So is there a purchase by date? Are they ready to buy? Are they pre-qualified? So can they afford this? This is cash buyer, so yes. And then represented by an agent. So the more stars they have, that's just telling us the strength of this buyer. So 4 stars means it's got a lot of strength in this buyer. So let's go back and I can see that 4-star buyer. That's probably somebody I'm going to want to contact, which I can do right from here. So I can go ahead and message the agent that is representing this buyer. Now, of course, that is me. So it's telling me I'm sending myself an email right now. So I don't have to put that in. Now, there is one other tool on this page that I do want to shout out here. And that is, let's say you've got 1 buyer here, or 10 buyers, let's say, because your person priced their listing a little too high. In fact, our CEO, Chuck, loves to tell this story that he went to another agent and he said, hey, I saw your mom's listing. She's got it priced too high. You have to drop the price on that. And she goes, I'm trying to get her to do that. I just can't convince her to. Maybe you could. So he went and talked to her and he showed her, he put the listing in this way. And he said, you know what, let's do this. We have our what if tool here. So let's go ahead and click on our what if tool. And right now we saw that there were 10 buyers here. Well, guess what? All 10 of those people have seen your listing and they're not interested. So let's say, what if we decrease this by $20,000? Let's just take a look to see what happens. We'll select go, and guess what? 15 more buyers showed up. So then we had 25 potential buyers, and now we can contact the agents representing those people. So we can get new buyers in just by doing this what if tool here. So now we can contact those people, and I didn't have to adjust the price in the system. I didn't have to adjust it inside Buyside. I didn't have to adjust it on the MLS to see that. I just did my little what if here. So now we can see those other people and who those buyers are down here and who they're represented by. So those agents that are represented, because again, you're not going to be able to see the actual buyer information. We know that those buyers are sacred. So if you have a buyer, you don't want somebody else knowing who that person is. So we give them that buyer ID and the direct line to the agent that represents that person. So now we've got our listing and we've got our potential buyers. So that's how we would add in our coming soon listing. And to show you what this looks like, let's go ahead and go into find here, and we're going to find all listings. So let's go ahead and do that. And so we are now in, that's in Elk Grove. Let's go ahead and type in Livermore. I think I might have spelled that wrong. Too many O's. There we go, Livermore, California. So let's type in that area, we'll select search, and we've got one in here, and we can see there is our coming soon listing and all the potential buyers that are in there. So now we have that. And again, so if we put this as confidential, now I have this in here a few times, so it doesn't say it in here, but if this was confidential up here where it has the address, it would just say address unavailable. So instead of seeing that address, it would show you address unavailable, Livermore, California. It would show you bedrooms and bathrooms, the marketing buyers. So you will be able to add your coming soon listings in here, but if people don't want other folks driving in front of their house, when people search for this listing, when they see listings that match, they'll actually not be able to see the exact address, just all of the features about that listing. So there we go. Okay, so let's go back to our agent view. Now there is one more thing that I'm going to show you, and that is your the other type of listing, the quiet listings that we can add in there. So let's go ahead and add listing. It is going to be very similar. So we're going to go to quiet listings and we'll select add. And this is the same process. So now I can add all of this in here. So if I wanted to, I can add in 1352 Kathy Court. So perfect, there we go. So now it'll add all of that good stuff in there, and we can just, you know what, let's just add some more info in here. But you will notice there is a little bit difference in here. So I can say the asking price, but you will notice that it does have live on the MLS. So when is that going to go live? But it isn't mandatory because a quiet listing is a non-MLS listing. Now, do realize that this isn't available everywhere. We do know that there are a lot of MLSs that frown on this. So we do have it turned off for all of those people that it is not an option for you. So if you cannot have pocket listings, we understand. So we've turned this off. But if you can, this is how we would add it in. And it will have a live on the MLS date, but we don't have to put that in because again, if you're not planning on having it going live on the MLS, we don't have to add that in. So now we'll select add listing and you'll go ahead and see that listing pop up and it'll actually be yellow. So we can see our quiet listing there. Okay, so if we go back to find, and there is one more thing I'm going to show you. So if we go to find listings, you will see there are listings here that are red, and those are your coming soon listings. The yellow ones are your quiet listings, and all of the black ones. So these icons will be black, and it'll have the MLS number on the bottom if it is on the MLS already. So you will see those. So it is color coded, so you can see the difference between those. All right, so that is coming soon listings, how to add those in and how it applies to you. So if you have any questions about coming soon listings, how to add them in, if I was talking a little bit too fast, go ahead and let us know. And we're gonna get started with our Q&A. You can see we've got a couple questions already. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and let us know. All right, Todd, so if you're there, let's go ahead and start. And a question, let's see, it looks like there were some folks that couldn't hear the webinar, but they are wondering if there is a recording. Yes, we record all of our webinars and we actually post them online. So if you do want to know where to find these, you can actually find them on YouTube. So if you went to Buyside Training, there we go. You can actually find us, and there we go. So now we have Buyside Training, and here are all of our past webinars, and then any tricks and tips. So we do have some 1-minute videos in here that you can see. So if you wanted to come in, maybe subscribe to our channel or see some of our past webinars, you can actually take a look at those in here. Okay. Todd, let's see. Can we use the what if tool on an existing listing, as in meaning encourage a price adjustment?
Yes, you most certainly can. That's in your active listings as well. Tom did a pretty good job explaining the story of our CEO, Chuck, using that. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, any listings that you have that are, if they're live, coming soon, if they're really anything, as long as it's in the system, if you click on your listing, it will be underneath here. So that what if tool will always be there. So if you come in there, let's just say there is a listing that's associated with you on the MLS. Again, that's going to show up automatically. You can come in here and click on this and do that what if tool. So that will be available to anybody for any listing that you have. All right, Todd, where are these buyers coming from? So these buyers that I see, I think in here is what they mean. So these matched buyers, where is that information coming from?
That information is fed to us by your brokerage, whether it's from your CRMs, such maybe your showing time apps. And also you can add them directly. If you're working with a serious client, we recommend that you add your buyers directly to Buyside for the best matching experience.
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Todd, but where that list comes from is from inside Buyside. So you have 2 buyers here. So I've got 2 in here. Let's say you've got another 6, or if they get imported in or you add them in, all of those buyers are on an agent's dashboard. So when we see buyer matches for our listings, those are actual people that are on an agent's Buyside dashboard. So those are people that you can contact their agent directly from that. Is that how that works?
Yes. That is.
Perfect.
Click on the buyer as well if you'd like to illustrate that, show them how to contact the matching listing agent.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Okay, so if we're in here and you see your buyer, you can message them over on the right-hand side, or you can just click on the buyer ID, and then they have the contacting the listing agent. So you can contact this buyer's agent. Now this is mine, so it's showing me other listings that it matches to, but you will be able to contact this buyer's agent right from the system. So that is actually a person that's represented by an agent at your brokerage. So this doesn't share with other brokerages. It is just within your own brokerage. Beautiful. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time. And again, we do have other webinars that are coming up. So if you wanted to check out what other webinars we have, you can always see those. I will go ahead and stick those in the chat in just a second if you wanted to sign up for next week's. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you next week.